Casual Magic has been brought to you by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can get cool stuff. Use the code CASUAL to get 5% off of your sale. And then also by Coalesce Apparel, where you can get really cool t-shirts and stuff, and use the code CASUALMAGIC to get 10% off your sale. And by Archidect, a deck hosting website that doesn't really sell anything, but they like me and I like them, so kindly use them. And now, on to the show. Hello and welcome to Casual Magic, the show where we talk about the fun side of Magic the Gathering. My name is Shivam, Bhatt, and Casual Magic is brought to you by Cool Stuff Inc., Coalesce Apparel, and Archidect. They love me, so I love them, and I hope y'all love them too. Today I have a very special episode. I've finally gotten together with my dear friend Joe, Black Nito himself. I've been trying to get him on the show for like months, years, I don't know, whatever it is. But I'm super excited because I'm a big fan of him, watching him like doing Tabletop Jocks or doing like D&D and stuff. And it's like, I should have this dude on my
Hey,
show. Hi, Joe.
hey,
How's
how's
it
it going?
going? Thank you so much for coming.
Well, first and foremost, I am a big fan of yours as well. So we stand each other. Thank you so much for having me. I've been trying to get on this page for a very long time. So I think the feeling is mutual, sir.
Yeah, it's like it's weird because we live in the same time zone, but it's so hard to schedule because we're always busy recording all the time. The content creators grind,
I
man.
love
We're
it. I
just
love it.
never
I love it
free.
for us. Like
So,
TLC's like black excellence. Like it's going down. Like it's spreading like wildfire. So I'm
oh
here
god,
for it.
dude, I'm stoked. I've had like 3 black guests in a row, which is pretty wild, which is pretty great, honestly. It's like feels real good. Like Cedric Phillips, I had Mandy on, and I've got you, and it's like, all right, let's go. It's it's just so different from when I was a kid. Like when I started playing Magic in like 1994 or whatever,
Mhm.
I was a brown dude.
Mhm. Mhm.
That
Mhm.
was it, right? Like in my, I mean, where I grew up, there was like a lot of Asians and stuff, but
Yep.
like all the kids who played Magic
Yep.
were white kids and me. And it was just like, okay, well, this is the way the world is. And then like, we go on and it's like wild because Magic's an international game. There are like Germans playing and Russians and Japanese people in Hong Kong. But in America, everybody might as
Yeah,
well just be
honestly.
like pilgrims, right? And it's like, what is, where are the rest of us? I know we're out there. I'm not the only brown nerd in the world. Um, but like, it's wild now,
Yeah.
especially in like the last 4 or 5 years. Suddenly, out of nowhere, we've come out of the woodworks, and it
It feels
just feels real
amazing,
good.
honestly. Like it,
So,
when I came into this thing, it's funny because I'm gonna be real with you, walking into an LGS didn't really feel comfortable to me. Um, you know,
sure
I'm
didn't.
not gonna front on that at all. And that's why, on Tabletop Jocks, I started to highlight, being in bars and being in different spaces where the gathering was immediate, because that's
Mm,
what I always tended to focus on. And that's where I felt the most comfortable. And I was like, all right, cool. If I walk into a party or walk into a space, I used to be a frat guy or whatever. I mean, I still am, KSI, for life. But that's just my whole deal. And walking into the space, it just felt I felt very alienated. And even sitting down at pods, and like
mm.
I'm thank goodness for the Rule Zero conversation, because that is that's key, honestly, in this whole space. Because I'm like, man, if it hadn't been for that, and sitting down in just random pods, like it would be a nightmare. It would be a nightmare, honestly. It
Oh,
really
dude.
would, because
Let me tell you something. So, like, back when Kaladesh came out in 2016 or whatever, and it was like the first set to come out after the election, so everybody's already up in like crazy town. And in Aether Revolt, there was an artifact that was like a vehicle that was released, and its
mm,
power and toughness were 711. Let me tell you how many pods I sat down at during those drafts when people were like, "Thank you, come again," and I'm like, "No, I don't think I will actually.
man,
I think I never will again actually." And I'm like, "Yo, bro, this is like, this is the lowest bar you could have crossed. Like, maybe let's not
Right.
double down on the convenience store in the
Jesus.
brown man said. Like, dude, I don't know, it just Magic's it's been a long time since,
Mhm.
like, I remember going to Gen Con for the first time in, like, 2000 or whatever, and I swear to God, I was the brownest man in
Wow.
2,000 miles in any direction, and because, like, it was seriously wild. It's like, I've been playing D&D since
Mm.
1992, and everyone there, I was like, there's not even a single
Wow.
person who isn't white here." But now you've got, like, thousands, millions of us who are out there playing nerd games and just being ourselves. I mean, Black
Yes.
Girl
Let's
Mage has got
go.
her
Let's
D&D things
go.
going on all day long, and, like, in the video game space where I came from, there's so many more brown folk and black folk and, like, just POCs who are out there being I mean, and audience for I should explain, I don't just necessarily mean like non-white people because obviously there's people in Japan, people in
Mm.
China, people in Korea who do these things, but I mean in America, in like
Mm.
spaces which have been predominantly white, it's starting to become a broader place, and it feels like the world for like kids today is way different than it was when I was coming up 20 years ago or whatever,
Yeah.
it's like it's so much
Honestly,
better.
and
Oh,
I
so much
feel
better.
you, like, yes, shout out to Black Girl Mage. Shout out to honestly, shout out to, Michael Fritz, all my day ones, they've been holding me
Yeah.
down. Shout out to B Dave. Um, just I mean, man, just Cedric Phillips
Cedric
actually,
Phillips, the
I
originator,
actually
man.
ran into him in Vegas. He showed me, he shot me out the Wingray shirt that I was wearing on the last on the cookout episode that I
Mhm.
just did on Tabletop Jocks that everyone's like asking about. So holla at Cedric Phillips, like if you need that if you need that bag, like let me get in that bag. But yeah, man, it's very important to me in particular to, the reason why I started Tabletop Jocks is to, highlight the, underrepresented um
Yeah,
people in this space, in the nerd space, and to give a space to people who feel like, man, I can't get my story told. I can't get my
yeah.
thing on rap. And I'm like, yo, I don't care how big you are, I don't care how small you are. Let's come together. And I just did a cookout episode, and that was near and dear to my heart because it's the thing I've been wanting to do since I got into the space. Um,
So tell us a little
so
bit
so
more
we
about
did.
that. What was going on here?
I invited all black content creators because I felt like we needed a space to blurt out, you know what I mean? And I I was
Yeah.
like, yo, this is something that I've been going to LGSs and like different spaces and just not finding that vibe and been like, man, I see here, I see black people here and there, but I'm like, nah, there's got to be a space for us. And they were like, well, there's not. And I'm like, well, you know,
Mhm.
forget it. I'm gonna create that space. I'm gonna make sure that space exists.
Mhm.
So I was like, you hear the expression the cookout and you think they're like, what is the cookout? And it's just that, if you're invited to the cookout, you're invited to the cookout. And if you're not, hey, you know what I mean? Like it is what it is.
Mm.
So visually, I wanted to have a visual representation of what that is to be invited to the cookout, but in a nerd form. So
Mm.
we're playing Magic the Gathering, we're hanging out, we're chilling, and the vibes are cool. We're outside, we got barbecue, Memphis Grill. Shout out to Memphis Grill. Um, for hooking us up.
Mhm.
I mean, it's just I being it brought tears in my eyes, honestly, because I
It felt good to see, man. It was just like being able to see the people being able to be themselves in a space with folks like them who come from the same context, who understand what it's like. There's nothing like that
yeah,
feeling of finding your people, of finding the people who can resonate and understand the vibe you're coming from. And like, it's so rare. It's so like even now, there aren't that many South Asians in like Magic, for instance, like folks like me, for instance, right? And I'm just like, when I do meet other ones and we can sit there and just actually be like we are behind closed doors, and it's just like you get that feeling of like, oh my god, like we're speaking the same language. You understand me. I don't need to translate. I don't need to code switch. I don't need to like we can sit here through the medium of this game or whatever we're doing, but we could still be the people that we actually are. And that's just such a rare and unique feeling that when you have it, it's like you're glowing. And then when it goes away, you're like, I need to, how can I make sure that this
Exactly,
can happen for
exactly,
everybody?
and
Right?
you preach to the choir at this point. You know what I mean? Like it's so rare to have that have that instance, to have that feeling of um man, just like yeah, belonging and
Belonging.
just like man, I don't even know what it is. Like, like I grew up in Flint, Michigan, and that was that was all black everything. You know what I mean?
Mm.
So like when I went when I went to college, it
Yeah.
was a very I
Man,
mean,
Flint is
yeah,
a
what
whole world unto
Flint
itself, man.
town. I mean, it is what it is. But we won't go into that. We on some nerd stuff right now.
Yeah. So
That's a whole different
that's a different
podcast.
podcast.
But going off to college and figuring things out, and like I didn't even start playing. Like I had this inner nerd in me since I was a kid, since I was like a little boy and growing up and seeing my friends and going to arcades and playing Marvel vs. Capcom and playing Tekken and playing Street Fighter and oh man,
Speaking my
having
language.
all that, and then just coming to the forefront and having magic being taught to me, and by my homie Jay Stedman. Just shout out to Jay Stedman. I know you probably gonna listen to this, but like I love you like a play cousin. You know what I mean? Like it is what it is. But just having that vibe, taught to me, and just you know
Mm,
having that vibe and just having the whole thing um and walking to an LGS on your first time playing anything nerdy related and just being like, I can express this. I can go for this thing that I've been A
right.
suppressing, B putting the back to the back, putting to the back, back shield and just man, just
Yes.
embracing that. Just it feels so good. You know what I mean? It feels so good. And it feels even better when you're with your own people. Like not that I'm not vibing with everybody that's not a nerd. But
No. Yeah, but there's a feeling though of like it's look, it's not about not being multicultural, but it's also about
mhm,
knowing that there's other
mhm,
people like you who also do this. It's about being able to be like, "Yo, I wanna share
yep,
this with the people I grew up with, the people who understand me. I
exactly.
also want them to love this thing too." You know what always got me? Like, when I was because
Mm,
I've been in gaming for a long time, and in one of the things I hear a lot is, "Oh, man, black folks don't like, games or anything." I'm like, "Or anime." I'm like, "What in the hell are you talking about? These kids came
man,
home from the same schools you went to, went home and watched the same after school TV that
yep,
you did, at 3 o'clock in the afternoon,
all
Power
that,
Rangers come on, black kids, white
all
kids,
that.
brown kids are all watching that.
Yep,
We're all watching
yep,
Dragon Ball, we're all watching Naruto. Like, the same people are watching the same things. We're reading the same D&D books. We're reading the
exactly.
same Lord of the Rings and all this crap. Come on. Don't give me this like,
Nah,
"Oh, yeah, urban folks aren't into, like, fantasy." I'm like, "You are wrong, because there's only one media in America, and
exactly.
we all eat the same food." Like, it it's com and so like,
Mm,
look, there's accessibility issues.
for sure.
Let's not sugarcoat it. It's hard to
Yeah,
get play, especially like
yeah,
Magic.
yeah.
Magic is expensive as hell. And but that doesn't mean there aren't
Of
folks in
course.
Alabama playing Magic. That doesn't mean there aren't like, black kids all over the place. I mean, like it's so weird to have people close doors without even trying to see
Right.
if anybody's actually on the other side. Like, yo, dude, we've been nerds. One of the things that got me when
No,
like,
no,
and
go
I don't mean
for
to
it.
make this about
Go
me,
off,
but
King.
some these ways these conversations go. But like when Kaladesh came out, I was like, okay, I've been into fantasy since 1988. That's when I got my first like Lord of the Rings books
Mm,
and Dragonlance novels and whatever. I've been reading this stuff my whole life. I've never
mm,
once seen myself in D&D, in Magic, in video games, except as like the
yeah,
random Dalsum,
yeah,
right? Or like sidekick or
yeah.
like Haji or like, whatever random stereotype ass like servant who's on the side
Mhm, mhm.
helping the white man do the looting, right? And here's this whole ass set. where my
Yeah.
people are the people,
Yep.
right? Like, we are the front and center main, and I'm just like, I was overwhelmed. I was like, I've never
Mhm.
seen myself in a Magic card.
Mhm.
I've never seen my kid in a Magic card. I've never seen the
Yeah.
potential. I didn't even think this could be real. And I'm just looking, I'm like, holy crap. I
Yeah.
They have acknowledged I exist. Now, mind you, they boffed it completely, but that doesn't matter. That first impression of knowing that I was there matters,
Yes,
right? Like,
yes.
it matters. And, like, that new version of, Young Pyromancer and, Seasoned Pyromancer, I'm like, that's literally just my
I
picture
mean, you
now
might as
as a
well
magic
make it be
card.
because, like, I'm Ryu, Storm's Edge, like real talk. I even called him. I called him out. I
Oh,
was like,
hell yeah,
"Hey, is
you
this
are.
me?" You know, and then we were doing a commercial, and I was like, "Hey, bruh, hey, I just want to like bring this up real quick. Is this me?" They were like, "Cause I literally okay." So it's funny. It's like okay, so I've been working with Wizards for about about a month and a half or a year and a half.
Yeah, we
And I spoke to him about my martial arts training. I went through samurai training. Like I literally, my pops put me through training through a samurai that he knew, and I told him about that, and like
wild.
that's like I got katanas all throughout the crib. Like what I mean? Like it's not a game. Like Ryu, like and then when I saw that card, I was like, bruh. And like my homies hit me up. They're like, bro, this looks just like you, like straight up. And I was like,
Like, yeah, it
and then I
seriously
was like,
does.
they literally put me in this thing all based on the conversations that I had with them. I was like, this is so lit. Like, you don't even know. Like, this is so dope. You know what I mean? Like, and when the Street Fighter set came out, I was like, bruh, they sent me the Blanca thing. They sent me the whole Street Fighter joint. I was like,
I'm
bruh,
so
I
jealous of
I
you,
was
by the
like,
way.
bruh, like where's Sagat? Where's M Bison? Where's Cammy? Like, give me more. You know what I mean? Like, and when the black is
Look, I gotta say though, I respect the
yeah,
fact that they went with the 8 World Warriors
yeah.
because,
Gotta
like,
go old
you
school.
gotta, I mean, there's 400 Street Fighter characters. You can't
Get
get
the core.
everybody's.
Yeah,
You might as well get the core. And
yeah.
I was like,
And I
okay,
mean,
this is sweet.
that's what I'm
Hadouken is a
saying,
lightning bolt, though.
bruh,
Hadouken is a lightning
dude.
bolt.
I
Come
mean,
on.
you and I are on the same lane, bro. Are you going to
So
Evo?
good.
Oh,
I can't.
oh,
I want to, but I can't. I went to Evos 2 and 3 when they were, just called Battle by the Bay back in, 2002,
what?
2003. I went there back, like, the
Yeah,
first couple of Evos because they were down the street
man.
from my college. So, like, I've been there. I'm an OG, I know, but, like, I can't go to Vegas. I wish I could, but
Bruh.
it's like a national holiday in my house. We shut everything
Oh
down.
my
Papa's gonna go
goodness.
watch some
Let's
Street Fighter, leave him
go.
alone.
Like I am honored to be in that in your presence, bro. Like seriously, like I am baby. I am baby in this whole thing. Like I swear to God, I'm baby. And I'm going to
Look, man, I'm not good. I just love it,
I'm
that's
not
all.
good either. Honestly, I'm going to Evo, and I'm holding down for the Blurs, and I'm playing some Tekken, and I'm not gonna front. I got some hands in Tekken. I'm not gonna front. Like me and Tim go way back. You know what I mean?
Love
Y'all
Tekken.
y'all know Tekken Tim. Y'all know what it is. That's my sparring partner. You know what I mean? I don't know how much he is in the game anymore, but that's my claim to fame as far as fighting games go. But yeah, man, like I treated Magic just like I treated, fighting games. I grew up, playing Marvel's Capcom, playing, old school Street Fighter. Yeah, so
Mm.
I got
So
into
when did you
Magic
get into Magic?
about I want to say like 2013. Yeah, like real.
Wow. That I was gonna say that's
Yeah,
new, but that's like a
exactly.
decade ago.
Like
That's
I
not
got
that new.
into it about 2013. My homie introduced me. He was like, "Lo, like here's the deal. Here's how you play." And then it's so funny because I wasn't dating anybody at the time. I got into Magic and World of Warcraft at the same time. So
Oh god.
you know what I mean? Like I wasn't
Yeah,
dating
and you weren't
anybody
dating
after that.
anybody
For that
after
whole
that either.
summer, I was in it. So you know what I mean? So,
Yo,
yeah,
I got this
exactly.
half orc girlfriend in Canada.
She's cool with it. She's cool with it all. So yeah, man. So
Oh,
we
good
we were
gravy.
getting it in, and actually I got really lucky. A cat heard me talking about Magic, and he was like, "Yo, I got like." 6 5K boxes. I sold all my stuff off. I can just give you my cards if you're gonna continue to play. And I was like, well, yeah, let me throw you some bread, you know what I mean? Like
Yes.
whatever. He's like, nah, man. And to this day, I forget his name, but to this day, if he heard this podcast, if he seen what I was doing, homie was like, yo, as long as you continue to keep playing, as long as you continue to, keep, doing your thing, I'll gift this to you. And from since that day, I've been playing and figuring things out and learning and strategy. So, shout out to really friendly Michigan
I
people
love
just
that
doing their
story.
thing and giving back to the youth. I want to definitely be a beacon in this community and make sure that I do the same thing. For anybody who needs it, for anybody who wants it, like that just it warmed my heart, you know what I mean? So that's exactly yeah,
Yeah, I mean, those are like the angels who come into our lives, drop off something just like,
yeah.
"This is gonna bring you happiness. Take it. We're never gonna see each other again, but go and, live the dream that I did." And I'm like, "Dude, that
It's
is
crazy.
that is the way it should be." Anonymous, pass off, hand the torch to the
It's
next gen,
crazy.
and go
It's
on,
so
man. That's
funny
the
you
way it
say
should be.
angels because that's the
Love it.
my favorite creature type in Magic. And I have since I started collecting cards, that's my card like type. I have every angel in the entire game. Every angel that's ever existed
Nice.
in foil. Like I had to like bling them out. I was like, nah, man, like this is my jam. I know Cash has got his, shout out to Cash Marsh. Cash has got his thing with the foil king, aka he's transcended to a foil god. Now he's on a whole nother thing. He's on some Dragon Ball Z type tip. But you know what I mean? Like
Cash is a different type of dude. He is like the nerdiest jock I've ever met in my life. Like, that guy is a dweeb
hey,
with muscles.
let's
That's what he
go.
is. Like, I mean, he's got this friggin', he had Olivia Gober Hicks make him this necklace, which is literally just a
Yeah,
Dragon Ball coated in diamonds, and I'm like,
let's go. I
That's a
love
lot,
it.
man.
I'm here
That's
for
a
it.
lot. But alright, man. L l
Hey, if you
If you
if you got
got the
that
dream, live
bread.
it. Go. Yeah, dude. Do you
I
have
don't
an Angel
actually. I
EDH
had
deck?
a I had a actually, okay, that's false because I have a Kalia deck that's oops all angels. So yeah, so I
Yeah. Kalia, man, Kalia, she
that's what
gets
I'm
hated
saying.
off the
Like,
table every single time because everybody's like,
yeah,
"I don't need to know what's on the
because
other
you're
side of
like
that
whatever
because it's
whatever
gonna be
you're gonna
bad."
do,
It's all
it's
bad.
nope.com. Like I don't want to deal with that. You know what I mean? Like it's not I don't want to deal with
Yeah.
any of that. So um nothing good coming. As soon
There's
as she
nothing good
swings,
coming.
so it's just it's so much set up that to the point where I'm like, okay, well, I can't really play Kalia, so I'm thinking about doing another Angel Tribal deck. But yeah, I mean, it's just I love this game, man. It's so much fun. It is so much nuance.
Yeah.
Especially hooking up with Wizards of the Coast and everybody that's involved. Like it's just been so cool to get to meet everybody there and get to work with everybody. It's just been yeah.
Yeah, so let's talk about that for a second. So, you got out of school
Yes,
and you became an
yes.
actor, is that what it
I
is?
went to
Like,
I went to school for
did you go to
acting.
school
I
for
went to
acting?
undergrad and grad school actually. Got my master's in acting.
Oh, nice.
And I had a showcase, picked up an agent, and just moved forward from there. And I'm still doing the thing. Got a commercial running. I don't know if it's gonna be still running while this podcast is coming out, but if you see me in a Cricket Wireless commercial, screaming at the top of my lungs at driving a monster truck, off the rails. Like I'm in that thing. It was playing all during the the playoffs, the Final Four, and during the NBA playoffs. So I got a
Oh,
lot of text
nice.
messages about that. Like, hey man, I saw you in the commercial. I was like, yeah, let's go, let's
That's
get it.
sweet.
It's gonna bring some bread to it. Also in the Geico commercial. I'm voiceover. Sharp. I'm doing all the things. And I'm I'm writing actually my own pilot.
Well, that's good.
With Tabletop Jocks. Actually, I'm looking for scripted content. Actually, so yeah. I got a
Mm.
couple. I got a lot of irons in the fire, man. Like ambition doesn't go far.
I mean, you gotta be. If you're in
Just
Hollywood, you
grinding.
have to just be grinding all the time. Like, people don't understand how I mean, I guess they kinda do, but it's so hard to keep, like, a consistent gig in Hollywood and to be able to keep doing. Because I worked in the movie industry for, like, a decade, so but from the
Mm,
content side, so I know what it's like. I just never had to do that part because 'cause I'm like, "When you're
right.
done, you give me the thing and I'll deal with it." But, that's sweet though, and, like, being able to hook up with magic
He
though, how
actually
did you
reached
do
out to
that?
me. It was really dope. The first thing, man, what was the first thing I did with them? I think the first thing I did with them was the first big thing I did with them was the last Dungeons and Dragons um, Magic the Gathering set, and that's where I met B Dave. Yeah, Forgotten Realms. I met
Forgotten
B
Realms?
Dave. I met Becca Scott. I already worked with Josh Lee Kwai, and it was dope because I got to work on a set where I was always intrigued about Dungeons and Dragons, but I never really got into it. And I was like, man, like obviously,
Hmm,
I'm gonna come at I'm gonna come at it with the whole acting perspective, with the background, and it was just like
yeah.
so surreal because I was like, oh well, this is like this is not, a no-brainer to me. Like, let's go. And the first time I actually played Dungeons and Dragons, I wrote a 25-page backstory on my character, and I gave it to the DM, and he was like, "Bruh, you didn't need to do like this is too much."
It's like, "Yo, I'm sorry you feel that way,
I'm not
or
reading
I'm
all
glad for
that.
you, but
He
I'm
was
not
like,
reading all
"Look,"
that."
and then, like straight up, he said,
Yeah.
"Hey man, roll me a d20 right there in front of me for your backstory." And I rolled like no BS. I rolled a d20. I rolled a nat 20, and he was like, "All right, cool. All your
Sweet.
backstory is true. Everything is legit. I can't argue anything. I have to read this now." And so he read it all. I was like
Damn.
this wizard that was like, fireborn, and I had a twin that was like basically like X-Men, like Phoenix. I was like very like influenced by, like X-Men and stuff like that. So I was like, all right, basically I'm like Scott Summers to like Phoenix or whatever, and like we were twins, and I was like, I'm fireproof
Sure,
and
sure,
all this
sure.
other stuff, and he was like, man, and so like during the campaign, it was just like there was stuff to come up, and I'd be like, well, I'm fireproof, so I just walk through this, or I can block this, and I would just block for everybody.
Ah, a as
Oh
a
man,
DM, I'm just right now
it was
wincing,
bad.
like,
It
"Oh
was bad for
god,
everybody. I was
this
just like,
pain in the
this is like,
ass."
and I was a wizard. So I was like, all right, cool. Well, it's like a non squishy, a tank wizard. Like, what is this?
I don't know, man. There's a point where you're just like,
Yeah,
I've because I played a lot of D&D in my life. I'm like hardcore to D&D, and one of the things I found is the more time you spend on your
yep.
backstory, the faster your dude's gonna die. And I'm gonna be like, "Yo, I wrote a book for my guy here," and they're like, "Yeah, well, you just ate it from this crab that pinched you in the toe," and I'm like, "God damn it! How did you know my weakness was crabs?" It's like and it's like, "All right, well, now you can go rewrite that essay." I'm like, "No, damn it." But yeah, it's so I've learned since then to just be like,
Yep.
I'm just gonna roll with it and make it up on the go. I mean, every character I play is the same anyway. They're always paladins or clerics or something. But yeah, dude, it's funny because like I know a lot of actors in
Yeah.
Hollywood who love playing D&D just because it's like it's acting but improv. It keeps your chops going and it's
Yes.
like fun
Yes.
as hell. So like one of my here's a name drop for you. One of my friends is a dude named
Hey.
Joe Manganiello, who's like, um, you know, because we're both Dragonlance like hardcores, and of course he's got a giant
Yeah.
mega mansion where he can play D&D. So some of us scrubs don't get to go hang out, but like, yeah, that dude's something else. Um, your story is so wild to me. It's like it feels like you came out of nowhere. you started up a show, suddenly you're doing stuff with WotC, which is like the dream for a lot of us nerds, right? It's like, oh, we're going to the mothership and we get to do things on this, like, and it's so much fun to watch you on like all these like preview shows that they've been starting to do now. It's so cool. Like, and have you worked
I
with
was on
Josh
game
before? I
nights.
mean, were you on
Actually, I
game
did.
nights or
I
any
feel
of
like
the
that's
content?
what got me started. So I shot an episode of game nights
Mm,
back when what set was out when I first started. I believe it was Double Masters, the original Double Masters. And then I shot another episode with
mm.
them with my homie Rachel Weeks. And so we shot. Yeah, she's the best.
She's
She's the best.
amazing. Love me some Weeks.
Yeah.
She's so funny.
She's honestly like, have you seen her stand up?
Sh-
Oh
I
my God.
have heard some of it, but like
Yeah,
I work with her on the
she's the
CAG.
best.
I
She's
know
the
her. She's
funniest.
awesome.
Like, yeah, you gotta, yeah.
Like she's legit funny.
So that happened. I did the game nights thing. Didn't really know what it was. My fiance now at the time, but girlfriend at the time when I shot it, um, she was like, "Hey man, I'm looking through these YouTube comments," and I was like, "I don't really want to hear whatever." I know,
It's like I don't
exactly.
want to know
I
what's in
know
the
people are gonna be
YouTube.
racist. I mean, people are gonna be whatever. I'm not even gonna
Yeah,
go
for
there.
sure.
She was like, "No, it's like legit. Like everyone was like." you know, throwing good stuff at you. And I was like, really? And I talked to my homie, and he was like,
Let's take
bruh,
it.
like you should start up a show. Like you need to put yourself out there and like do the thing. And I was like, is this a viable strategy for income? Like, because I was working through, different I was doing the actor hustle. I was working in different bars and different, different restaurants and stuff like that, in the
Yeah.
meantime and, trying to like balance everything out. And then when I figured out like, oh no, content creating is like that's a gig. I was like, oh,
If you can make it work, it is, but it's a hard it is like a lot of people, and I'm like, I
mhm,
know that you've been very successful at this, but, like, a lot of people look at this and go like, "Yo, I can do
nah,
what Josh and Jimmy are doing." I'm like, "No, you can't." Like, Josh and Jimmy are operating at a level that is, like,
right.
professional grade TV level, and, like, so I did
Hmm.
trailers and stuff for Sony PlayStation for a long time. That's a and, obviously, Josh is one
Hmm.
of the greatest trailer cutters there is. So we bonded and got to know each other that way early on when I was still just a fan of the show before I did my own podcast and stuff. And I was just, like, learning from him, and I'm like, "This guy is a genius level, like, tech guy." Like, he knows how to do this at
Yeah.
a level that I cannot approach. And, when you look at, like, that stuff, and then you look at the average content creator, there's a very large gap, and people come to me all the time, they're like, "Yo, how can I do this?" I'm like, "Just start. Just
Yep.
use whatever
Yep.
crap equipment you got, just start. The good stuff will come later, but the
Exactly.
consistency has to come from you first, right?
Yeah.
Like, you gotta just
And
grind."
it's just what it is, you know what I mean? Like it's a big grind, you know what I mean? Like I feel like a lot of people don't understand, like especially with the comments too, you know what I mean? People are coming in like and like I've had my own channel since January 1st. And a lot of people are just like, yeah, man,
Mm.
like the audio is this or this and that and this and that and this and that. And what I will say to that is like, bruh, I'm like me, my editor, and like one other person. Like it's not. I don't have like a big studio. I don't have like the. It's me.
Yeah, you
You know
have
what I
you.
mean? So I'm bringing the talent, and they're bringing audio, but like they also have full-time jobs, so they're not out here like, oh, this is a thing. They're just like, all right, this is a little YouTube thing that I'm doing, but like they're working on. I mean, my yeah, my producer who's
Real
who's who's helping out, he's working on Dear White People. He's working on The Wilds on Amazon. He's working on he's working on like
yeah,
actual shows, and I'm
actual
like, and
shows.
then he sees like the comments, and he's like, bruh, we have zero budget. If you want to give back
Yeah,
to the
seriously.
community and you want to give back to what we're doing, that's great. But like, who are you to say what we're doing is not on a level? Like, what are you doing? You know what I mean? So it's like it's kind of funny because like like I feel like more than anything, like I get a lot of more flack from people who are I guess like critiquing on the fact that like, hey, and I feel like I get it more as being a black man and being, a
Mhm.
person of color and being, in this space. And I feel like there's a lot of gatekeepers in this space that want to see the demise of, people who are of color and black and brown people. And, and
We don't get the same
no, not
chance
at
to
all.
fail that other people get. It's like we're either gonna fly
Right.
right now or just get the hell out.
And it
Like,
sucks, I see the
yeah, I mean,
comments
right?
and I'm like, and I always, and at first, and I failed at this, I'm complaining. That doesn't give me, any excuse to, go off the rails, but, I definitely, came at people like, bruh, like if you was in the hood, this wouldn't fly. Man, you know what I mean? You say some stuff like this to some people in the hood, man, this is gonna be a different story. But I learned that it's not about what you say, it's about what how you react, you know what I mean? And I learned that
It
very
certainly is, yes.
quickly, the reaction time of how I my on my platform, and learn to respond appropriately and be like, you know what, look, here's the deal. If you have a critique, that's valid. But if you're here to hate, or if you're here to spread you know, BS or whatever, that's not allowed. And I'm okay with telling people that that's not allowed. But here, if you're here to spread, if you're here to give feedback, you know, by all means, go for it. But I'm gonna tell you this: if you're here to give feedback and you're not subscribing, or you're not giving to the Patreon, or you're not like, this is zero money that you're putting in, and your zero money that you're consuming this content. You're consuming this content for free, essentially. Then what's up? You get what you pay for. You know
You
what I
get what you
mean?
pay for, bro.
So I let people know, like, recently, like, it just is what it is. So it's like, and even today, I had a cat that was just like, just out of pocket. You know what I mean? Being like, well, you're just this and you're just that, and I can't comment unless I'm paying. And I was like, no. And he's like, you gonna delete the comments? Like, no, I'm gonna let it live. I don't do that. I don't delete comments. Like,
Like,
it is what it is. Like, we're having a conversation, but you're here complaining about some free content you're consuming, and I just started back in January. Like, you're comparing me to stuff that you're seeing on, you know, um, on yeah, on networks,
experienced
or
people's
on
shows.
whatever, and like, bruh, you know how much money that costs? It's like, if you want to, yeah, if you
A
want to give
lot.
back to
A
that,
lot.
by all means, here's the Patreon link. Holla at your boy. But you want to then go in, and it's just a lot of sad people in the Magic community, and that's what I want to touch on too, because like, a
It's
lot of
a lot of
entitlement, a
entitlement
lot
is
of
what it is.
gatekeeping, a lot of, just like, and that's why I was just like, nah, like for my channel, I want it to be, I want to bring in the marginalized people who are not highlighted, who are not given that chance to let their flag fly. And and that's been my goal. It's like, when I did the cookout episode, man, that just, bruh, I can't tell you
Mm.
how much how much black joy that gave everybody on set, bruh. Like, everybody there was just, I mean, I, bruh, like, it was like the set of Black Panther, bro. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? Like, it was just like, we were just vibing. We were vibing, bro.
Pass the
And
plate, man.
I feel like, and like, it took till 2022 for that to happen. I'm like, man, come on, y'all. Like, but you got to be the change. You know what I mean?
Well, it's like, look, there's got to be a point where, first off, we got to be
Yeah.
there. Then we got to be able to find each other. Once we find each other, we got to be able to sit there and say, okay, we're actually going to do something.
Yep.
Then we got to get off our butts and do it. Getting all those steps
It's
done,
not
bringing your people together is not easy. But once you do, you're like, oh my God, this is
all the
why don't
time.
we do this all the time? And it's like, because it took a lot of people
Hmm.
struggling and a lot of pain to get here.
Yeah.
We're here though. We
Yeah.
can do this now because we know we can. Right? Like that there's that's success that breeds
Hmm.
repetition. That's what Mark Rosewater likes to say. And that's the thing. Once you get it once,
Yep.
you only need to do it once to be able to do it again. And then again and again and again until
Yeah.
we're just
Yeah,
part of
man.
this. Right? Like I don't know. It's weird because like half it's like don't assimilate, but the other half is like, yo,
Hmm.
we belong here.
Hmm.
We have been
Hmm.
here the
Hmm.
whole damn time.
Indeed. Indeed.
Get over it. It's like and it's so weird because like when I was in GP Richmond,
Hmm.
not Richmond, but
Hmm.
GP, whatever, Command Fest Richmond, like at the beginning of summer. And I'm going up there the first day I get there, and I'm in the elevator. I'm just like, I got off the airplane, I've got my bag, and we're just going up to the room. It's 10 o'clock at night. Who knows? And there's two dudes in like polos who come on, and they're just like, are you staying long? And I'm like, hell no, I'm not. This is a hotel. What do you think I'm doing? Moving? And they're like, yeah, welcome to Richmond, the heart of the South. And I'm like, you can enjoy that. Keep it. I don't need none of this. I'm here to play cards. So good night,
What?
sir. And just like the vibe that was all over the place was so like I'm from California, so I'm spoiled. Like I live in a place where stuff
Hmm.
doesn't get that weird,
Yeah. Are you
especially
from
in
the
the Bay
Bay?
Area. Like there's brown
Okay.
people all over the place. Yeah, I live like just south of San Francisco, but here in the Bay,
Yeah.
there's brown people all over the place. Like I'm not gonna lie, I'm living in the
Right.
luckiest place you can for a minority, and but in Richmond,
No.
Virginia, is not the
No.
same as San Francisco. And I was like, oh,
Man.
I have been taught that this is
It's
the
different.
world is different on this side, and I need to mind myself a little bit more. But I was just like, no,
That's what I'm
the hell,
saying.
I'm an invited
Yeah.
guest. You ain't. Like, who are you?
Jeez.
Like, get off, bro. Um, it was, but it's just like, oh, I forgot that this is what it's like for other people outside
Right.
of where I'm at in this bubble I live in. So, like, when you could bring everybody together and be like,
Mhm.
not in a bubble anymore. We're here and we're in a space that's safe. We're
Mhm.
with people who understand.
Mhm.
Nobody's going to talk smack to us, or nobody's going to be like
Right, right.
judging us for being
We're
here.
in a safe
Right?
space.
That's the
This is
thing.
us. This is unapologetically black. That's really what it came down to, and that's what I've always been about. And I talked to Rebel, afterwards, and she was like, "Yo, like this, what you did was phenomenal. You brought all these people together that you know that I love, and I was like kicking it with Hire, kicking it with Lua, kicking it with Lexi, kicking it, oh my
Oh, Lua is so funny.
god."
She's so short, but she's so funny.
Just like not even a name drop.
Uh,
Yeah,
Man,
it was just a
what a
star-studded it was a
no.
star-studded
She's a
cast, you know what I mean?
firecracker.
Like it was just all the homies, all the day ones,
Yeah, dude.
and oh man, I gotta get you on the show, bruh.
It doesn't even you know
Yes,
what? We
yes.
gotta hang out.
We got
We
no
live in the same
excuse.
state. We got no
Let's go.
excuse.
Let's
It'll
go.
be a good
Like
time.
seriously.
Yeah, let's do this. But, seriously though, watching your success makes me happy because it's like seeing the sorts of things that I wasn't able to do and seeing people come through and be like, "I can do it now." And I'm like, that makes it worth it. It makes all this struggle that I had to deal with worth it to watch people like you come up and be able to make this part of yourself. Like, that's where I sit there and go like, "Yo, I fought through being the only dude
Yeah.
in this goddamn community, and now there are people behind me who can sit there and don't even need to know who I am, but they can sit there and be themselves." And like, if that meant that, like, people are calling me sand while like Kaladesh is going on, I was getting all these diaper headed slurs and everything. I'm like, look, if me getting stabbed means that the next kid can see himself in a magic card, I'll take it because I want everybody to feel like this is their game too. And seeing you guys do it makes me feel like we made it. That all of this has gotten somewhere, that it's been worthwhile, that kids are able to come up and just be here and be themselves and not trip about it, and that's
Nah, I
really all
feel
the
you.
success we could
Yeah,
ask
and
for,
it's like,
you know?
ugh, that sucks that we, because I feel you. Like, I I
The
don't think that you have to go through that specifically to allow that to happen. I feel your joy, but the fact that that happened is abysmal, and it's indicative to what the gathering is supposed to be about, and it's not about. And it, you know,
it's been so many years of just feeling left out, of just being like, "Yo," I'm, like,
yeah,
not invited to the party, right? Like, I'm
hmm,
there, but I'm the hanger on. I'm not the dude who gets to go in. And then, like, seeing people like Josh and Jimmy breaking down the ground and being able to, like,
yep,
be Asian, be loud and proud and well known, and then, like, just all this stuff. And there's a saying that is now not really appropriate, but has always resonated with me, which is that pioneers get the
mm,
arrows and settlers get the land.
hmm,
It's a messed
yeah,
up saying because of what it represents, but at the same time, it's like, look, if you're the one
yeah.
barging in the door, you're gonna get stabbed and you're gonna die, and then the person behind you is gonna be able to walk over you and land where you were able to make a space. And in D&D, in Magic and that, I've always felt like my job is to run forward, eat all the thorns, knock all the bushes out of the way so that people behind me can sit there and feel like they're not being pushed out of this space. Like D&D is even more hard to get into than Magic is because of how cloistered and how Eurocentric and how just like, do you know how weird it is when you're reading a book and you're like, "Oh my god, I'm so excited to finally get this D&D manual that I finally got," and you flip it up and you're like, "Oh, I heard that there's Indian content in it," and it turns they like take your whole culture and turn it into like random
Yeah,
robots and like aliens and people that, "Oh, look at naked chicks with multiple arms that we got to see." I'm
yeah.
like, "What? What the hell is?" Okay, there was a
I
game
am
called
familiar,
Far
never
Cry. Are you
played it.
familiar with it? Yeah, so Far Cry is a shooter, it doesn't matter. But in Far Cry 4, they were like, "Yeah, we're gonna take place in this, pseudo Tibet, and it's gonna be cool and everything." The cover of the game was this blonde-haired dude sitting on a blown up statue of the Buddha with this dark brown dude with a grenade in his hands at his knees, just while this guy's hand is on his head, and his foot is on the head of the statue. And I'm like, that is like 17 different ways of, like, offending me specifically. Like,
Jesus.
my entire culture, you've broken every taboo. Like, that's, like, horrifying to me. And I
Yeah,
wrote a letter because I was in
yeah.
the video games industry. I was in the press and at PlayStation, and I wrote this whole thing, and the kind of stuff that I got, like, you would not believe how many people were mad that I would dare be an uppity, uh
Oh my God.
SOB, trying to say anything at all instead of being
What?
grateful that I was included. And I'm like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa. I'm sitting here with a grenade while this dude's foot is on my head, and you want me to be grateful that I'm included?" And they're like, "Yeah, but you got
Oh,
Dhalsim." I'm like, "Dhalsim."
oh my
"Okay, bro.
God.
Okay, okay. Let's
Jeez.
go. Let's go." And it's just like, dude,
Mm.
and, like, I lived in Japan where people would be like, "Yo," I would go to a barber, and the barber would be like, "I can't cut your hair. It's too thick
What?
for my tools." I'm
Yeah.
like, "You don't have scissors in Japan?" Like, "Yeah." They're like, "Yo, man, I'm sorry. We can't deal with your foreign hair." I'm like, Okay." I went to an internet cafe in my town, like, one of the
Uh-huh.
first days I was there because I didn't have a computer. I'm, like, logging on, setting up, and they're like, "I'm sorry, you can't come in." I'm like, "Oh, really? Why not?" And they're like, "Well, I'm like, "Okay." Well, I went and I talked to my supervisor. I spoke fluent
Wow.
Japanese, mind you. I speak fluent Japanese, and I'm over there, and my supervisor comes up and he's like, "Oh, okay, let me just introduce you. Hi, this is Shivam. He works for us. He's not a terrorist. Don't worry. We will take care of everything he's doing. It's fine." And I'm just like, I'm not a I'm I'm not a terrorist?
What?
That's what the problem is? Yeah, he was afraid you would burn the place down. I'm like, "What? What the what the f" you know? So, like, coming home and being like, "Alright, Magic's gonna have an Indian set," and it's like, as they took like Rebel Without a Cause or 1950s car culture and put them in saris and brown skin, and I'm like, oh god, guys, I love seeing myself in the game, but why is this nothing like skin deep, literally skin deep? It's like
Yeah.
Kaladash's brown face.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is not okay. But because of that, because I stood up and I made myself a target, every other set that's come since has had like cultural consultants, has had people sitting there and being like helping like ground these places in reality. I'm like, okay, fine. I blew my chance so that Kaya could exist, so that Ixalan can exist, so that all of these other settings, all these other people can see themselves in the game the way that I thought I was gonna get. And like, so I'm like, if that's a hit I have to take, so that folks like you can sit there and feel good about this, I'll take that hit. It sucks. It sucks,
That,
but I'll take that hit. And I did, and that's
but
where
that's
we
the
are.
thing, though. You know what I mean? Like, you shouldn't have to take that hit. You shouldn't have to be that person. I know,
I'm
and
happy to be here.
and look, trust me. I'm happy that you are here in this space, and like the more and more I learn about this space, the
It's
more and more I appreciate people like you that are in this space, and it just breaks my heart because as an actor, as a person of like this doing this thing because I want to better the world, like I'm just uh it just
look, the thing is, in my other life,
mm,
in my not magic life, I'm a
mm,
priest, right? Like I'm a Hindu priest. I'm a dude who goes around this area. I do a lot of
mm,
social justice work for my community.
mm,
I do a lot of rituals and ceremonies. I handle the link between the old and new. So I'm used to getting a lot of pushback from a lot of different directions. And on the internet, I sit in like my main Twitter feed. I sit and I like deal with big world problems, and I get it. And it sucks when the place I go to escape to starts kicking
yeah,
me the same way that the real world does, right? That's when you sit there
yeah,
and go like, "Okay, this can't stand anymore." And that's why I'm glad that Wizards has started taking people like me seriously and started listening to us and started changing so that the next one doesn't have to be like this, right? Like, it can be the game can be better. The community can be better. And I'd like to think that folks like you and me are able to
yeah,
actually start making it better. Like people see us just by seeing us and by being in
mm,
this space. That is so much
yeah,
because I never had anybody to look at. There was nobody for me to look at and
yeah,
say like, "Wow, that person's like me." But now there's people who come up to me at like command fests and stuff who are like, "Thank you for being just
yep,
out and brown and
yep,
doing this and saying it's okay to do this." And I'm like, Yes, because I
yeah.
need to be the person that I didn't have." And that's why I love your show. That's why I love your show because it's here
Yeah,
for
man.
folks like us.
I think I had my first experience at that
Yeah.
at Vegas. Um, it
That
was
must have
crazy.
been
It was the
wild,
first, like,
right?
I don't know GPs. I don't know, like I'm going as it was my
Yeah, I
yeah, it was
think that
my
was, like,
first
the
that was my
first,
first
event you'd
like
actually gone to,
MTG
isn't it?
thing. The first thing I've ever went to was Star Wars Celebration. That was like this was like number two, and I was like, what the fuck? Sorry. What the F? Hope you can bleep that out. Sorry. Um I
Yeah, it's
just
okay.
every PG-13 they got one F bomb. But it's just man, it was just crazy because like I had never experienced that ever in my life, and you know, it was just
Isn't it
I
cool?
people was just like the dude came up to me. He was just like, dude, I appreciate you for everything that you're doing, for being black in this space, and it's giving me life. And he was like breaking down as he was saying it, and I was like, I don't know how to react right now because like I'm taking this in,
Isn't it
and I
the
was like,
greatest feeling?
this is why I'm doing this. This is exactly why I'm doing it.
Exactly. Exactly. The first dude, ever someone's like, "Do you ever
No,
get tired of
not
signing?" I'm
at
like, "Hell no,
all.
I don't. Are you
Not
kidding me? Are you
not at
kidding
all,
me? This is the
man. Not
greatest
at
thing in my
all. Like,
life."
and anyone who listens to this, please definitely let me know, DM me, hit me up. Like, I will sign anything. I will always hang out. I will always, chill. Like, Vegas, like, was bruh. Like, they gave me the welcome
Well,
mat, bro. Like, they gave me the extra room. They gave me the little suite. Like, we had a little extra room with the table in it, and I was like, bruh, I ain't used to getting this. And 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 that
right? Isn't it
and we
cool?
had cats
It's
in
so
the
amazing.
room playing Magic, and then other cats hit me up was like, "Hey man, you wanna play D and D?" And I was like, "Bruh, like I don't get to do this. I don't get to DM a lot, so like you know." But I'm thinking in my mind because I'm a Resident Evil head. You know what I mean? I'm a survival horror. Like I'm a spooky head.
Sure.
Down to the core. And I was like, "Bro, you want to run this Resident Evil campaign?" They were like, "Oh my god, yeah, let's run that thing." And I was like, "Oh, let's go." And I had nothing but dice and like nothing, and my it
That's the
was
way it
just
should be, man.
it was great.
That's the way it should be. You don't
And
need anything but
imagination, it
dice and
was
an
great,
imagination.
So I appreciate you
Mm.
so, so, so much for paving the way for cats like me, for making it so, you know what I mean? Like,
It's like, you know, I feel weird because like, I don't like to talk about myself like that. Like, this this isn't normally how I sit and do these things. I don't sit and go like, "Yo, man, I died so that you could live," because that's egotistical, that's arrogant, right? But, like, watching you succeed, watching people like us actually make it makes me so happy because it's
yeah,
like,
yeah.
it's working, and I'm like, "God damn it, this is" like, every day I'm so grateful that Josh Lee Kwai went to Sheldon when Sheldon was creating this commander advisory group and said, "You
hmm
should talk to Shivam and have him come on." Because of that, I was able to get a platform, and because of my platform, I'm able to help more people diversify magic,
That's
and that
crazy.
is like the goal. That's like my goal, and so I don't know. I'm grateful for my opportunities. I'm grateful for your
I'm
opportunities.
That's what I'm
This
saying.
has
I'm
been a
like,
good chat,
yeah,
man. This is
same.
way heavier
But
than I thought it was going to be.
when black and brown people link up, it's just like I said, I haven't teared up this much in a podcast period because when we link up, and the same thing I felt when
Yeah.
I did this last shoot and I saw the love and the joy and like just seeing that many people come out, bro. Like I wasn't prepared for it. I was like, all right, it's gonna be like, maybe like, eight, nine people coming out, bro. There was like 35 people that came out.
I
It
know
was
that picture was so
it was so
big.
many
There were
people in
so
the
many
back,
people in
and
it.
like Cassius came through, Ashland came through. My boy Andrew Dismukes. Shout
I
out to
love it.
Andrew Dismukes from SNL. He came through. I just bruh,
Dad, you got
it's
to
just so
nerd
much
out. That's the
love in this
best thing ever.
community, and there's so much to vibe out on, and I just didn't realize it was just so much love in this community, and I just, I mean, I'm down to make it happen. Like I'm down to put in the work and to make this thing go off, and any way that I can give back to the community, like I'll make it happen. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's dope. It's dope.
dude, love it. Man, we this is not where I expected the conversation to go, but I love it and I'll take it. We didn't
Hey,
even get to
hey,
talk
go
about
watch
your
the show.
show.
Well, subscribe, like whatever.
Okay, so yeah, so you know what? We've hit our hour, so do me a favor, man. Tell people where they can find you. Tell people what the show is.
Hey,
Give me your plug.
wow, man, Jim, thank you so much, first and foremost, for bringing me on the show, for, um, for
Absolutely.
bringing everything that you do for the whole community. We support you. We love you. I want to get you on the show. Let's get it in. Let's go. You know, but you can
Let's
find
go.
me. At Black Nito underscore on TikTok, on IG, on Twitter. And then you can find me at Tabletop Jocks, holding it down, doing D&D content, doing Magic the Gathering content, doing board game content, eventually doing video game and written content that I'm writing uh, to. to just bring you guys everything under the umbrella. This is Black excellence going down, and I appreciate your support. Please, definitely support my man Shivan, and definitely support your boy Tabletop Jocks. Hit up that Patreon. We need all the love we can get. Man, it's been amazing. Hell yeah.
Hell of an hour, man. Thank you so much for joining me today. It's been a real pleasure. I love talking to you. We should do this again sometime because now that we've gotten this part
Hey,
out
you
of the
know
way,
what? It's
we can
all
have the fun
good. We
talk.
got we got
Uh,
it.
but you know what though? This is real. This is where we gotta be real. We gotta talk about
Exactly,
these things because
exactly.
nobody else is going to. And I'm glad to be able to give you a platform to be able to do that. But as always, my friends, you can find me at Gearpuri Gears. You can find Casual Magic anywhere podcasts are sold, or at Cool Stuff Inc. every Tuesday, or at YouTube every Thursday. And remember, my friends, it is not magic without the gathering, and we will see you next time.